BC Minimum Wage Canada 2022. In this post I will be focusing on BC Minimum Wage Canada in 2022. I will explain the meaning of minimum wage and the latest increase. The minimum wage in BC will increase as of June 1, 2022 and every year thereafter based on British Columbia's Consumer Price Index, CPI. So, what is the current minimum wage in British Columbia? $15.65. The minimum wage in British Columbia increased from $15.20 to $15.65 per hour on June 1, 2022, making it the highest minimum salary in the country. This means that if you are an employee who is entitled to be paid the minimum wage in BC, your employer must pay you at least this amount for each hour you work. What is minimum wage? The minimum wage is what you are legally required to pay your employees by law. The current minimum wage in Canada is $15 per hour for all workers who are over the age of 18. No one under the age of 18 is exempt from this rule. It applies to both full-time and part-time employees. Indiana, Canada, it is against the law to pay less than the minimum wage. When it comes to minimum wage, you can't just make up your own rules. The laws that determine how much money your employees should make annually are rather simple. Minimum wages can be confusing, especially if you're not familiar with the rules and how they apply to your business and workplace. When speaking about minimum wages, it's important to understand that laws vary from province to province. This post focuses solely on BC minimum wage. BC Minimum Wage 2022. The current minimum wage in BC, British Columbia, is set at $15.65 per hour and there's a chance it could go up again soon. An employee should be paid overtime for any additional hours worked if they work 35 or more hours per week at their place of employment. If an individual works on a statutory holiday, such as Christmas Day or Easter Sunday, the government will additionally provide additional compensation. The median hourly wage for those in BC with the highest salaries is $21.13. The median hourly wage for the lowest paid employees is $14.50, which indicates that a full-time employee would typically earn $28 per hour, or $57,800 a year. In general, it is higher for bartenders than for other employees. In order to cover living expenses, provinces and territories with greater costs of living sometimes have higher minimum wages. Paying your employees less than the minimum wage is against the law. The bare minimum wage is what you are legally required to pay your employees. It is against the law for an employee to accept less than the minimum wage, and it is against the law for an employer to do the same, or anything else. Contact the government to confirm that you are paying your employees the appropriate amount. You can do this on the internet or by calling 1-800-O-Canada. Additionally, bear in mind that the charges vary according to the region of Canada where your company is located. The majority of provinces set their respective minimum wages, which vary from province to province. The government of each province determines the minimum wage rates, which vary from province to province. This is due to the fact that each province has unique minimum wage laws and rates. Some provinces, but not all, have adjusted their minimum wages to inflation. For example, Ontario's current minimum wage rate is $15.50 per hour. Ontario said on April 5, 2022, that starting on October 1, 2022, it would raise its general minimum wage by 3.33%. From $15 per hour to $15.50 per hour, in an effort to assist workers with growing prices and inflation. The majority of workers in the province are subject to the provincial minimum wage. April 6, 2022. Meanwhile, British Columbia's current minimum wage rate is $15.65 per hour. The BC minimum wage. The BC minimum wage is a significant issue. Politicians, economists, and the media frequently discuss it because it has an impact on the lives of over 1 million British Columbians who work full-time jobs for the minimum wage. Everyone ought to be paid enough to live on, even though it may seem like a straightforward problem to some. Reasons why Canada needs better wages for its workers. Over the course of 18 years of raising children, daycare can cost up to $1 million. This means that families with young children require a higher level of income than ever before in order to be able to pay for daycare without incurring debt. Yet once again, the minimum wage is insufficient. Recently, housing costs have increased faster than incomes, making life even more difficult for those who are already barely making ends meet. Because public transportation isn't always available everywhere, especially in rural areas, people have fewer options when it comes to commuting back home after work hours. Additionally, transportation costs have increased significantly since 2000 as a result of rising fuel prices globally. BC Minimum Wage 2019. In British Columbia, the hourly minimum wage was $12.65. Although this was the lowest of all the provinces and territories, it nonetheless offered a respectable sum of money to those who were struggling to support themselves and live independently. After receiving consent from all 10 province governments and 3 territories, the federal government established the minimum wage in Canada at $14 per hour, which went into effect on October 1, 2017. The Northwest Territories, Nunavut and Yukon. In British Columbia, however, this wasn't always the case. At that time, there was no set legal minimum wage. Instead, businesses were free to pay their employees as they pleased, as long as it didn't fall below the levels established by Human Resources Development Canada laws, HRDC. BC Minimum Wage 2020. British Columbia's minimum wage will rise by 20 cents per hour as of 2020. The youth minimum wage was established at $11.30 per hour for workers under the age of 18, and the adult minimum pay was set at $12.65 per hour. The provincial administration passed a legislative proposal in June 2019 that included these increases to guarantee that workers receive annual raises based on inflation rates, which are measured by the Consumer Price Index, CPI. Additionally, this plan guaranteed that all future increases will take effect on or after April 1 until 2022, after which time there will be no legal necessity for yearly wage increases as long as inflation stays below 2%. Conclusion. The minimum wage in British Columbia is $12.65 an hour, or around $24,000 for a full-time job. This excludes any additional compensation you might receive from your job, such as tips. If your company is paying you less than that, it's possible that they're breaking British Columbia's minimum wage laws. The number of hours you put in each week could also have an impact on your pay. If you put in more hours than someone else but they make more money than you, it's possible that their degree of experience is influencing their pay rate, or maybe even just because of who they are. The minimum wage still needs to rise before it achieves a livable wage, notwithstanding the provincial government's determination to increase it. We need to keep talking about how the tax system can benefit low-income earners and reward firms who pay their employees well if we want to shrink this gap. This is crucial for Canadians everywhere as we consider implementing federal changes that will eventually have an impact on all provinces and territories.